If you're doing entertainment law, they can call you for anything. They can call you for their personal injury matters. If you have like a client of that stature that has so much going on, you may enter into all the different areas of law.
Hi everyone, this is Raina Carrillo with Purpose and Passion. And today, I'm really excited because I love lawyers, number one. Should have been one. But today I thought about it. I said to myself, God, give me the right people to bless their testimonies on my show. And today I have an amazing woman named Ashley Valenzuela, right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. We call her Legal Queen LA on Instagram, and she's an entertainment lawyer. And so the reason why I have an entertainment lawyer today is because I am managing a rapper, and I've always been community-based, supportive to many people in their vision and goals, and mentor people and coach people. But this time around, I said to myself, I would love to be educated by this amazing woman named Ashley. So wanted to say thank you for, blessing our show.
Of course.
I got to bring this up because I'm just who I am. So we had a scheduled interview, and it was a hell of a journey. But people that really know Raina from Inglewood knows that, like, when stuff happens, I want to make it up like we're like, if I'm your man. I was like,
and I love that.
I was like, what can I do? Can I pay your gas? Can I take you out to eat? Like, tell me what to do. And I'm grateful that you were very, receptive. And I'm just grateful. And I'm grateful that you're here today. So I wanted to publicly apologize on the situation because I've been going through little health issues. And that's why my energy is kind of like down today. But I'm very grateful that you're here. And the first question I wanted to ask you before we go into the into like back down memory lane, I want you to educate our viewers on what is an entertainment lawyer.
That is a great question. First of all, thank you for bringing me, and thank you for rescheduling. I know we've obviously both been going through a lot. Everybody's going through a lot. Yeah. But I appreciate you having me. So thank you. And I'm happy to be here. An entertainment lawyer is an attorney. We don't have majors in law school. Mm-hmm. So you don't major in psychology or social justice or anything. So you just kind of get your degree and you study for the bar exam and take, you learn every single core subject for the bar exam in your state. But once you get into practice is when you specialize or major in whatever area you want to work in. And so when I was going to law school in Florida, entertainment law didn't exist really where I was. It was kind of like, we live on the beach in Florida and we work in real estate and tax and estate planning and elder law, So whenever I started to think about entertainment law in my third year, people would look at me like I was crazy. Like, that doesn't exist or you made that up. No. Entertainment law can encompass everything from contracts, intellectual property law, which is like trademarks and copyrights, business law, forming your LLCs or corporations, many different letters, like demand letters, cease and desist, like harassment, defamation, all that type of stuff. The other thing that a lot of people don't know though is if you're doing entertainment law and you have, maybe it's like a big celebrity client. They can call you for anything. They can call you for their family law matters. They can call you for their personal injury matters. And if you have a client of that stature that has so much going on, you may enter into all the different areas of law just by having them as a client. Wow. So it can overlap into everything, but mainly, in entertainment, there is music, TV, and film, and then everything else. So contracts, of course, go over all of those different subject areas. A lot of firms kind of specialize in one area. Like,
Yes.
oh, we're film production legal, or oh, we only represent music publishing companies, or whatever
Yes.
it may be. I generally tend to work with the talent. I'm a people's person. Like
Yes.
Ashley Valenzuela for the people. Um, so I like
I
to,
love
you
it.
know, I'm more of a manager than anything, like
Yeah.
personally, because I care too much. Um, and I love the managerial aspect of everything.
Yeah.
So I like to work like one-on-one with like an artist or a producer or, you know, a business person, whatever it may be, as opposed to working with like the larger companies.
Oh, wow. That's good. So when is your birthday?
September 7th
What sign is that?
is the Virgo.
Okay. But that's good. You like to work one-on-one with people. You know what I mean? It's so important. And talking about, you were talking about contract and music. I had a curious question, like about branding. Like, just give the viewers a little idea of like, you know, like when I think about branding, I think about Beyonce and how she had Blue Ivy with the name and then she paid for it, or, you know, I don't even know how to describe it because that's not my field. But can you explain to people about trademarks or
Yes.
trying to, you know, grab that name because somebody sent it to today and was like, Raina, somebody has a line called La Reina Cosmetics. You need to sue them. And I'm laughing. I'm all like, well, I think there probably are a lot more La Reinas, you know, before me, you know? And I said, and I've never trademarked my name, so I don't know. But it's interesting because it was a funny comment, but I was like, I was curious, like,
That's a good question. And a lot of people actually like confuse what a trademark is. I'm actually going to be having an episode on my own podcast,
Yes.
on the Royalty Room, about like the myths in entertainment law.
Yes.
Trademarks and copyrights are two separate things.
Thank you.
Trademarks and LLCs, two separate things. A lot of people tend to get those three like confused and intermingled. But like with Blue Ivy or La Reina Cosmetics,
Right.
if you wanted to own those words or the logo to it, you want to file a trademark.
Okay.
Or if you have a slogan, like you have, you know, La Reina, the best to ever do it, and you want to trademark that slogan too, those are all three separate things you can trademark. Yes.
Like Pinky in the Brain.
Yes.
What do we do today? Take over the world.
That's my plan every day. You know what I mean? But I say that to say, like, the difference between trademarks and copyrights are for like the actual creative work, like the song lyrics, the sound recording for the music, the photography, the script, all of those things that are created by an individual, versus a trademark could be just words, logos, or slogans or phrases.
Wow.
And whenever you want to do that, what you have to do a search and see if whatever name that you want is available. If it is available, then you'll go ahead and you'll file your application. And I could talk about trademarks for the rest of this episode.
No, but I love it because you're educating me.
So you file the application, and say you filed today. You would automatically start being able to police or patrol for the words that you trademarked. And you can also start using the TM little logo next to the words,
which Nipsey Hussle used to use for the Crenshaw.
So if he were to trademark that, like the day he did the application, he could put the TM next to it. And then unfortunately, it does take a really long time for the trademark process to go from application to registration. But you can, you know, start acting as if you already own it as soon as you apply. Even if you're not already using it, like you don't have your products on the store shelves or you don't have your website finished, you can still do an application. It's a different way to do the application, called intent to use, versus you already have everything going. But it kind of ensures you protection. Like, I'm going to start using this soon, but in the meantime, I want to have this application here because whenever I'm ready, I just want to submit the products and the pictures and the business cards or whatever it may be and just be ready to go.
Wow.
But unfortunately, like, I got my license in 2019. And back then, before when life was normal, the pandemic never existed. You could file a trademark application. And from that date, you would probably wait about 3 months to hear back from the office. And what they do is once you submit the application, it goes into like the cloud and waits to get assigned to an attorney. And it's literally just a regular attorney like myself. They got a job at the trademark office and they're reviewing in the order that they get to your desk.
Wow.
So it's, they do their training. Each person is different. This person's a little bit more strict. This person's a little bit more helpful. But now, after the pandemic kind of backed everything up and people had a lot of time to think about their creativity, the 3-month mark for review is looking more like 6 to 9 months. Wow. And that's just like the very first step that anyone at the trademark office sees your application.
Wow.
So the moral of that story is submit your application immediately. Because it does take a while, and that's why you want to have an attorney to do that application. Yes. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that, but one, you want the initial application to be complete and have all of the things that it needs. So when that 6 or 9 months is up and someone sees your application, they have everything that they need to approve it. If they don't, what they'll do is they'll respond back to you in what's called an office action. And they'll kind of give you either one, all of the things that they need to be able to approve it. 2, they'll have kind of like legal research questions for you. How is your trademark different from this other one? Or they'll give you reasons why, they need more explanation or something like that. They'll lay it out for you in the office action. Like they'll have specific questions, or they'll sometimes even give you examples. Like if you were intending to do X, Y, and Z, in your response, include these specific words. Like sometimes they're really helpful.
Very detailed, which is good.
Yeah. And they always have the contact information of the attorney. So you can always like call or email them if you need further clarification. And sometimes it's really a simple process, and sometimes you have to go like extensive legal research. And then after that, it'll go back into the queue, and then they'll review it again in a couple of months whenever it gets back to them. And then they can either approve it at that point, or they'll have even more questions for you.
Wow.
And then at that point, you respond again. This is why trademarks are flat fees.
Yes.
Because if you're charging hourly, it could take 6 months for it to be approved and registered, but it could also take 2 years, and if we're charging hourly, I don't want to pay that hourly bill.
Yeah. So, I can imagine.
People say all the time, like, oh my gosh, trademarking is so expensive. Well, it's actually like a super convenient flat fee, so you don't have to continue paying for the length of time that we're working on this.
Wow.
Yeah. And so the other part about trademarks, that's good to have a lawyer, is if you're a licensed U.S. attorney, you can file a plus application as opposed to a standard.
Okay.
And the biggest difference, logically, is it's a $100 difference. So for each class of trademark, and a class means clothing, entertainment, jewelry, food, all of those different classes has an application fee of $250 per class. If you're a licensed attorney. If you're not a licensed attorney and you're filing it, because anybody can file a trademark.
Yes.
You can do it on your own. It's $350 per class. So if you have, a Raina, whatever it is, and you wanted to file it in 5 different classes, you're more than welcome to. But you have to pay that filing fee for each class, and then plus the legal fees, whatever those may be, wherever you go. So if it's, an outrageous number, $2,000 and $3,000 and $5,000 for this trademark, it's probably reasonable.
Yes.
Of course there are people who price gouge and charge, a lot more than they should. Right. But, trademarking is not cheap, and it's definitely not going to be less than $1,000. or less than $1,500 if you have an attorney on your side. But
but it's a little easier than doing it by yourself.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to know.
You can save time.
Yes.
You will save money because, if you're doing it on your own, maybe you don't have the correct legal research to back up your answers, or you don't understand, maybe the right types of proof that you needed to submit. You're going to be going back and forth with the office, extending the time that you're spending, wasting money on responses or extensions. If you need extensions of time, you have to pay extra fees.
Yes.
So definitely recommend always for your trademarks, call me.
Yeah, we're going to call you Ashley. So you said something about Florida. So you're Latina.
Sí.
And so you are Puerto Rican?
See, everybody asks. No, I'm not Puerto Rican.
I was about to say, whippa!
I love it. And you would think, but everybody I've ever met thinks I'm Puerto Rican. I don't know.
Please share your beautiful culture with us.
Okay, long story short, my dad is de Honduras.
Okay.
Sí. Pero I did my 23andMe.
Uh-huh.
And it screwed up everything that
Are
was
you a gumbo
before.
like me?
I'm everything.
Yes.
All the things.
Oh my
I was shocked. I was shocked. Literally almost everything on the globe lit up.
Yes.
But I know for a fact my dad was born in Honduras.
Uh-huh.
He was there till he was 9. And then he moved with his mom to America, to Pennsylvania, where he met my mom. Yeah. And she is also a mixture, Cherokee, Indian, German.
Wow.
My great grandmother moved here with her parents from Czechoslovakia when that was one country.
Wow.
In 1902.
I have some of that in me too.
Really?
Uh-huh.
We probably cousins.
I
anyway.
know. I'm gonna go find you on ancestry.com.
Listen, I got a message today. You have new DNA relatives.
Me too. I was like, wow, second, third cousin on my mom's side. I've never seen this person before. I said, oh.
I'm starting to think everybody's related at this point.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it gave me, it gives you the little percentages.
Yes.
I'm thinking my whole life, I'm 50% Honduran.
Yes.
And then everything else. No, that's only 16%.
Yes.
And that's the biggest makeup. So I'm 16% Honduran, and then everything else. There's African, there's, Italian, there's the only things that didn't light up is probably the Asian countries, Russia.
Yes.
And Australia. Yeah. But everything else.
Yeah, I was blown away too. I was like, wow. Interesting.
It is.
A beautiful culture. But I knew I was mixed as soon as when I found out my mom was half Creole.
Oh, wow.
Creole's a melting pot in Louisiana. Everybody was over there having relations with everybody.
I'm actually heading to New Orleans this fall for my friend's wedding.
Oh, I've
never been beautiful. As an adult.
I've never been to New Orleans. I've been to Louisiana, where our family's from. Okay. It's called New Iberia.
Okay.
Which is next to Avery Island. So if you go to New Orleans and you want to just explore something so beautiful and so different, go to New Iberia it's kind of like a museum. It's the Tabasco sauce place.
Oh.
But it's beautiful.
Okay.
The stuff that's in there, the swamps and I don't know, it's just beautiful. I swear, when I was driving in there, I can feel my ancestors.
Wow.
It was just overwhelming spiritually.
I love that.
Yeah, but it was beautiful. I just feel, I was like, oh my God, I'm in the right place at the right time.
Wow. Yeah. I felt that. The only place I ever felt that was Barbados and Hawaii.
Wow.
I don't know what it was about Hawaii. I felt like the island was just waiting for me to get there.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Moana moment.
Uh-huh.
Come to the sea.
Yes.
And I was just like, wow, I'm here. I'm finally here. Calm down, everybody. I made it.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, and it felt just so good and spiritual and healing and refreshing. And then Barbados, I always say it's my soul country.
Wow.
I did study abroad there for 6 weeks over the summer.
Uh-huh.
I went to University of the West Indies. And that was it's my favorite place in the world.
Is it like how Rihanna shows on her videos, like the party? Is it like that?
Oh yeah, Bim. That's the little nickname for Barbados. It get crazy.
Oh my God.
I do not drink any longer. I haven't drank in a couple of years, really. But I drank in law school. I drank in college.
I think I would have drunk in law school. Like,
no, I'm serious. I don't know. Listen, alcoholism in law school and in the lawyer population, out of control.
Yeah, I had friends that would drink a lot because they were stressed with those darn exams, and some of them did cocaine. I mean, it was a hell of a drug, I guess.
I honestly, like, if we're being honest, I think I'm the only person, the only lawyer
that was like, hell,
and the only person in LA that has never done cocaine. I've never put anything up my nose, and I never will. It's just, no.
And that's a good thing,
no drink, no drugs.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
my nose is
it's pure.
A virgin.
Nothing been up these nostrils. So so that's so funny. I thought you were Puerto Rican.
Everyone assumes
because I was like, before I said Cuban, I was like Puerto Rican, but Honduras, right?
Mm-hmm. And everyone thinks I'm from Miami too. I'm actually from
Orlando, Florida. And I know that I met my first, I say Honduran because I don't know how to say it correctly. So I said, I met my first Honduran. My cousin is Creole and her baby daddy is from Honduras.
Oh, wow.
And I thought he was Mexican. And he was like,
everyone
no,
does.
I'm not Mexican. He goes like, I'm from Honduras. And I was like, what's that? And
everyone says that
like,
too.
It's from here, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, hold on, let me Google real quick. And then I said to myself, oh, I know why you look Mexican is because you're no different. Like, think about it. You have the indigenous, the indigenous bloodline.
Yeah.
And
my family is
then
like
you have
Mayan
the Spanish.
descent.
You know what I mean? Then you have the Spanish, and so I'm just like, I get it. You know what I mean? But I know that within our culture of Latin America, we're all a melting pot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all a melting pot. Like my husband is Puerto Rican, and he looks Italian. But then when I thought about it, I said his last name is Colon. Who is Colon? Christopher Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
If you find out who Christopher Columbus is, his real true name is Cristobal Colon.
Yep.
And he was all up in Puerto Rico. And he left a lot of seeds there.
Yep.
And I found out that he was not Spaniard. He was Italian.
Really?
Yes, that's what
I never knew.
Yes, he's Italian. And so I said to myself, that's why people think my husband is Sicilian.
Mm-hmm.
Because he looks like that, and then he has kind of like the dark under eye rings, but then they think he's Persian. They think he's Arabic.
People guess, people think I'm Persian all the time. Persian, I've got an Egyptian, I get Puerto Rican every day.
Yeah, I used to date an Egyptian. I'm like, I love Egyptians. All right. I even know how to say I love you. Emi Behevik. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I used to do it with my swagger, be like, Emi Behevik, baby.
You talking spicy to me.
Believing Before Seeing, a new book by Candace Barr, teaching you how to believe into existence. Available now for pre-order.
So we're coming back to the episode. Because I noticed when I was telling her I love her in Egyptian, my chair got like right here. So we're probably going to put like a little SpongeBob kind of theme before this. Oh my God. I am crying right now. Oh my gosh. So going back to culture, what would you say now that, we're obviously back to normal on purpose and passion?
I don't even know if I was normal when I got here.
I think both of us was probably not normal. Oh my God. But let's talk about your purpose and passion, Ashley. Oh my God, that's so funny. I'm going to be rolling all this time right now.
I got a lot of passion. A couple of purposes. You want to narrow that down? Because I feel like that's real broad.
Yes. Okay. So let's say about law. what is your purpose and passion about law and working in the entertainment industry?
Okay.
There you go.
So,
Before my chair goes down.
we gotta hurry up. So when I was growing up, I had, a tumultuous childhood.
Mhm.
And I'm the oldest of 5.
Nice.
My brother and sister, I have 2 in their 20s, and then I have 2 that are 6 years old or 9 years old.
Mhm.
And everybody's from my mom, and then I have a stepbrother from my dad.
Okay.
And so growing up, early on, it was just me and my sister, and my mother ended up in prison. So she was in prison for 5 years of my life, and me and my sister got separated. She went with grandparents. I went with other grandparents. My dad was in college. So it was always kind of, before we got separated, I was taking care of her. And, family doesn't like to let other family members forget about, their failures or the things that they've done for people. So like growing up, it was just like, this was your childhood. This was your childhood. Your mom did this. You're da, 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 da. And it was just like drilled into my head. So even if I forgot it or if I didn't remember it, like I'm just, y'all gonna remind me anyway.
Yes.
So growing up, I always had that. And it was just like, oh, I'm so far away from my family. And, I ended up moving to Florida with my grandparents. And then my dad came down there. And then my rest of my family was in Pennsylvania. So I was kind of like double life, half and half, all throughout, up until I was in college. And I started in high school thinking about, obviously what I wanted to do. I always, always, always wanted to help kids.
Yeah.
Even since I was a kid. I was 7. I wanted to be a teacher. And, so that's where it starts I want to help kids. I want to teach. I want to, be a mentor to someone. And so that's where I started. In high school, I did, early childhood. We had a preschool on campus and, all of those types of things. And then as it got kind of closer towards the end of high school, I started taking like law classes, forensics. I was on the debate team. So I was like, I could help more on this side of things.
Yes.
And then once I got to college, my mom had more kids and things weren't very great. And so I've always had a desire to help with children in foster care and kind of foster care reform. And so when I went to college, I was still trying to figure out, like, do I want to go to law school or do I want to do, I don't know, psychology? Do I want to do management? So it took me a little while to like fully commit to law school. And it was whenever I was offered to be a paralegal at the firm I had interned for a while, right when I was graduating. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a year off from school. I already did the LSATs. I already applied. I'm going to take this job and I'm going to work here for a year. And it's going to determine, do I want to go to law school?
Yes.
Or is it going to be, I don't know, an MBA or whatever it may be. And so after working at, the best firm, I had the best time. I got the best, guidance, mentorship. It was really great. And I decided, I'm doing all of this work, but I can't sign my name at the end of it because I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
And that started to just eat me up. So I'm like, yep, I'm going to law school. And I reapplied. Yeah, I retook the LSATs, got higher scores. I reapplied to schools, got higher scholarships. I had the work experience and stuff. So it was a really good decision to, kind of, actually determine that this is what I wanted to do. But first and second years of law school, I was still set on child advocacy. And it wasn't until the summer between my second and third year is your last year of law school. And it wasn't until then that I kind of started to shift focus. I had custody of my baby sister when I was in law school. And so I was in a time where I'm just like, I'm just gonna move to stay here and adopt the kids and just work at the Department of Children and Families. And that's just that. And if you would have told me in my third year that that wasn't the plan anymore, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah.
But my sister that's closer in age to me, she's out here in LA too. She's a professional choreographer, artist,
Awesome.
nail tech.
Hey.
She does everything creative. She came out to LA first, like when I was in law school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she came out here, nobody in our hometown, like we're from like a speck on the map south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. No one leaves the town. No one, like half the people we know have never even been outside of the state, and we'll take trips to like the beach, like the Jersey beaches or Maryland beaches and stuff, but like no, people don't leave. So it was like a huge deal for her to go across the country and completely by herself. We have maybe like one or two people that we actually knew in California. And so she did that when I was in law school. And stepping off of the plane, it's just like, ooh, new talent. How can we screw her over?
Yes.
How can we not pay her? How can we, get everything out of her without honoring our contract? And I'm like, oh, no.
Gotta know your sister on the
What's
side.
the phone number? So it was like right then when I started to realize, like, one, I've always loved like music.
Yes.
That's like, my first love. And I've kind of always been this person, but I never knew, like I never put creative or entertainer or entertainment with me, because growing up, my dad, like he's first generation, first of all. He's a professional engineer. So he got his master's and everything. So for me, it was college,
yes,
work,
yes.
law school, like whatever it is, like this is it. There was no other, oh, well, college isn't for everybody. No.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I hear you.
So while I was doing that, my sister got to, come over here and start her professional performing arts career. And I was just like, this child stuff is really traumatic. It's very triggering, reminiscent of my childhood.
Yes.
I was kind of like, with my little siblings, it's like watching me and my sister grow up. It's deja vu. It scares me sometimes, because I'll look at my little sister and be like, oh my God, you're me.
Wow.
And, her parents are separated.
Yes.
So, I watch, when she transitions between houses, and it takes me back. Like I used to throw the same fit. I used to cry for hours. I used to, kick and scream. And, it's never fun growing up in a home, whether it's divorced parents. My parents had me when they were 16, so they were never even like together. But it doesn't matter. It's still hard, going back and forth. So whenever I started to realize, maybe this is too much for me to work in right now, until I kind of heal from my childhood trauma and my life. And my boss at the time, he was like, you could literally retire when you're 60 and then go work at DCF.
Yeah.
Or you could retire when you're 50 and come to the DA's office. Like, this stuff is always going to be here. Like, you should
or just
see what this is about.
As a
exactly.
Lawyer. Yeah.
And in Florida, you can do that. So I was a guardian ad litem for a while. And what that means is, in Florida, you or anybody here could go to a 30-hour training.
Okay.
And then they could represent foster children. And what that means is, you would meet with them minimum once a month, see their situation, see their home, talk to their parents, talk to their caregivers, talk to the kid, determine, go into the courtroom, the next hearing, and say, judge, this is what's best for the child.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Anybody could do that in Florida as volunteer. But in California, it's only like, in Los Angeles, you have to actually be at a firm. And, it's the full 80 hours a week type of thing where you have 180 kids. And I tried it when I got here.
Yes.
And they offer contract positions. This is 6 month contract, because a lot of people aren't cut out for it, or a lot of people think they want to do it, and it's way too hard. Because when I was there, I had over 175 kids. Just me, 175 kids of similar and far worse stories than my own.
Yeah.
So it was...
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And so I would have, 10 hearings today, 15 hearings tomorrow, 5 hearings the next day. And it's just,
Ooh.
The mom's lawyer, the dad's lawyer, the child's lawyer, which would be me. Because in Los Angeles, every single child, as soon as they're taken from their families, they automatically get assigned a lawyer, which is great.
Yes.
Which is great. And then you have the judge, and then you have the lawyer for the state. So it's like kind of like a conference room hearing every single time. But I say all that to say, whenever I realized, this is this other area of law that I really love, and I could also enjoy.
Yes.
And I could also, go to this city, help my sister out. It's a completely new life to start. I decided, I'm going to see what this is about.
Yes.
And my sister went back to live with her dad, and my mom and everybody, they were in Florida. They moved back to Pennsylvania when I moved out here. But I kind of like had to put a stop on like my old goals.
Yes.
And like leave all of that. Basically, I left everything on the East Coast. Yes. Everything that had to deal with my own family, everything that had to deal with helping other people's families. And I kind of put that on hold. And then I came out here, and then I decided that all these entertainers, whether they're 18 and they just stepped out of high school and they moved here, or whether they're 35 or whether they're 50 and they're just coming to LA, or they're just getting into the music industry or whatever it may be, those people need help.
Yes, they do.
And guidance, because it's a lot of people trying to get over on you in LA.
Yeah. Oh no, I can imagine. Boy, do I have some stories.
Yeah, it's bad.
Man. Well, I wanna ask you something, because we're talking about youth. I have a nonprofit, and it's called the Phoenix Rising Coalition. And I know school will start in August, and I'm hoping that, maybe we can coordinate something where you come speak to our kids in Inglewood.
Yes!
You know what I mean? To have like a workshop with an entertainment lawyer where the kids are asking questions, especially kids that are into like you said, that want to be actors, that want to be rappers or singers. You know what I mean?
I love that.
We can do kind of like something together, collaborating.
I would love that.
To give back to the youth in Inglewood. And, before we end with our show today, is there anything that you want to say inspiring to our viewers or to our youth, to like set a tone as we end our podcast today? Miss Ashley.
I would say it takes a really long time to figure out what you want to do and who you want to be and who you are. Like, you literally don't have to have things figured out when you graduate high school or when you graduate college or at any certain time. Timelines are different for everybody. Yeah. And comparison will be the death of you. So that's one thing. And then also, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. In other words, if it does feel good, like I really wanted to work with the kids in the foster system, but right now it feels really bad because it's really triggering, so if I have to put that down until I can come back to it when it does feel good,
I agree
that, it's a sacrifice I have to make. So try not to force yourself into something because, you said you were going to do it or your parents made you do it or whatever it may be. If it doesn't feel good to you, then it's okay.
How can our viewers find you on social media?
So at Legal Queen LA on all platforms, Ashley Valenzuela. Also, there is the email and the call buttons in the little Instagram thing. So you can schedule a consultation. Website, legalqueenla.com. Everything Legal Queen LA.
And then last but not least, how can people follow your sister on Instagram?
Oh, yes. Please, everybody get y'all nails done at the Ballet B Girl. Or, we'll just keep it simple. The Ballet B Girl.
Thank you so much for just gracing Purpose and Passion today. And I will not forget this episode of my chair going down.
I'm so happy to be here. We had so much fun. Thank you.
Well, this is Raina Carrillo signing out on Purpose and Passion. Until next time. Peace.